Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Joe from GadgetryTech, and today I am talking about the new stealth pads for the Astro A50 headset. And I'm pleased to say that this pad works on the older Astro A50 Gen4, the newer A50X, and of course the Gen5, which is basically the X but without the HDMI ports. The goal of this pad is to basically enhance comfort but also improve sound quality and directionality. Now typically it's a more noticeable impact with some other headsets out there purely on the sound side because they often use leatherette pads. Astro has actually shipped with velour pads for years now, which is great. My issue with the stock pads is frankly they're a little bit too small. So the goal of this pad was to help improve comfort while also not taking away from the sound quality you enjoy. I do want to warn you that anytime you change pad, the sound quality will change, and anytime you go with a thicker pad, you typically lose mid-range, and material changes can affect the tuning as well, so things might sound darker, less detailed. So later in this video, I'll have some explanations on EQ to help bring a lot of that sound back and frankly even improve it further than stock. So I just wanted to disclose that now. Now, depending on when you're watching this, this headset pad has been out for a little bit, but not everywhere. We've had some delays with logistics in Europe. So if you're watching this video and it's still not available in Europe, it's not because it's sold out. I promise you it will be out very, very soon. We sent a lot of stuff there. It just takes a little bit to arrive. So let's take a look at the new stealth pad as far as dimensions go and compare it to the older original pads that you'll get, whether you have the Gen 5 or the X. And just for, comparison's sake, let's bring out the older Gen 4 as well. So the Gen 4 pad is actually slightly larger than the newer Gen 5 and X. I'm not sure why they changed the material. I think the stock pads on the older one were actually a little bit better. These new guys are, nice. There's nothing like horrible with it, but to me, it didn't need to go any smaller. So I'm going to move these guys out of the way, and I want to show you the differences of the new stealth pad versus the Gen 5 and X. The stock pads have 50 millimeters of height with a 37 millimeter width, and because the baffle is angled here, you get a different depth from front to back. So the front depth is 21 millimeters deep and the back is 24. The new stealth pads have 54 millimeters of height and 45 millimeters of width, and the front depth is a little bit deeper as well at 24 millimeters with a back depth of 28 millimeters. So you're gaining space in basically every regard, but I didn't want to sacrifice the padding and comfort. These have a good padding feel to them. They're very comfy and compliant, but the issue is because they're shallow and so soft, they do collapse over time and your ears start hitting the baffle, which causes other discomfort issues. So this is a little bit stiffer memory foam, but it's not by much. It's still extremely plush. I mean, these things are super pillowy and I love the surface material. We put a lot of time in picking the right fabrics. So obviously with the extra depth, your ears are much less likely to touch the baffle. This was about as large as I can go height-wise without having other adverse effects on the sound quality. We went through many iterations of this pad till we could find the right one. One thing I want to point out, because I believe in full transparency, is we wanted to keep this pad at a very reasonable price point, and with that will come some manufacturing choices. So the stock pad, you can see the stitching is actually quite nice and it rolls in a little bit. I'm not saying our stitching is bad, but I don't want to hide the fact that it's a more visible line. It's a little bit closer to the surface that makes contact with your, skin. You don't really feel this when you're wearing it. This is just a byproduct of how the pads are made, and it also helps kind of preserve the width we were going for. There were better ways to do this. It would have cost a bit more money to manufacture. But after testing several versions, I think this is the best approach because it helps keep us at a very low price point. Now, I mentioned before, anytime you switch pads, you will change the sound quality. And if you look at the A50X with stock pads versus the new stealth pad and no EQ changes whatsoever, you can see the general sound signature is the same, but it's tilted downwards. So basically, you'll get a little bit more bass and a little bit mid-range detail loss. So if you just straight pad swap it, it might not sound as clear to you over stock. That's just a byproduct of going with thicker pads. Anytime you go with a thicker pad, you lose some of the mid-range and treble energies. So thankfully we have EQ, and Logitech's G-Hub software allows you to quickly address this with a bunch of different presets. Now I have made my own EQ presets for this headset to save you a lot of time. So if you go to the community tab and you type StealthZ, you're going to see a minimum of 2 EQ presets. I say that because anyone on the community can make their own EQ presets, and I certainly don't want to discourage that. You can take my EQ presets and then customize it further to your own preference and republish it to help support the community. However, if you go to the G-Hub and you search Stealth and you look for GadgetryTech as a publisher, you're going to see a general and music one, which I think sounds absolutely incredible on the A50X and Gen 5. And then I also have an FPS focused one. If I ever make more and publish it specifically for the stealth pad, I'll of course do that. But as far as the EQ changes go, if you don't have access to G-Hub or a computer, at least, to browse community presets, you can also type this in manually. Maybe you're using a cell phone to modify the sound. So here are the EQ presets for both the general and music one and the FPS one. So feel free to pause here and then you can copy it yourself. Now, if you import my general and music preset and you don't like the sound or you want to tweak it, I can give you a very quick tip. It's designed to be somewhat relaxed and a little bit bassy, just off a lot of feedback that people have given me in the comments over the years. I've kind of tried to build a target curve that I think a lot of people will enjoy. If you find that it sounds too dark, go to the G-Hub, click on band 8, and you will see that at 3800 Hertz, I have a small lift with a wideband of 0.5Q, 3.8 decibel lift. If you feel like you want more mid-range and more clarity, just simply go to band 8, change it from 3.8 decibels to either 5 or 6 decibels, and that'll wake up the headset even more to sound more detailed. You shouldn't have to touch much else, but that is kind of like your preset, or at least your band, to quickly dial up and down EQ. Originally, I had the band a little bit higher, but when I listened to rock music, I felt like it was a little bit too much, so I pulled it back a little bit, and now it's more of a jack of all trades preset. If you're using the newer Astro A50 Gen 5 or X and you're using the FPS preset, that one's built a little bit differently. Obviously, we're focused more on footstep performance and reducing bass. And because of that, you don't have the same slider on music as far as like your general adjustments go. So band 10, the highest band, is designed to have a small lift above, 17, 18,000 Hertz. It's designed to have it sound a little bit more open and stagey. If you find that you like this preset, but again, you want more detail, you want it more forward in the mid-range and treble, click on band 10 and change it from the high frequency, just type 3800 Hertz instead. It'll change the band number, don't worry about that. Leave the Q factor at 0.5 and then just change the decibel lift. It should just work because it's already set to +2, and that's kind of a quick way to adjust the mids. Naturally, you can boost it even higher if you like, but I wanted to build two presets that are easily customizable to your taste. Now, I brought out the older Astro A50 Gen 4 not just to show you the pad changes, but to also say that I didn't forget about you in the sound department either. So if you want to customize the EQ, one, I have a link in the description below, so feel free to click that link and it'll basically allow you to import the EQ with Astro Command Center. You have to have that installed on a PC. Download the file, it's a Google Drive link, and then import it, and it'll automatically apply all the EQ settings for your Astro A50 Gen 4, whether you want the music one or the FPS one. Otherwise, if you don't trust links because of security reasons, which I don't blame you, that's totally fine. You can feel free to pause the video here. This is basically what my EQ presets do, so just type these in. Again, there's one specifically focused for music and one for FPS. All right, that about wraps up the video, and again, my apologies for the staggered release with this one. It's kind of a learning process, and if you see something out of stock and you're watching this video, it's not going to be out of stock forever. This isn't a limited run. We'll keep making more, and some warehouses didn't even have the inventory released yet at the time of filming this. So keep a close eye on it. I just wanted to get ahead of this and give you the tools you need to customize this as much as possible so you can make the most of your purchase and fully enjoy it. I've been loving this pad. Frankly, this has been my most exciting pad launch since the genesis of it all with the Nova pad. I absolutely love the comfort improvements, and thanks to the EQ software you can do, it just sounds incredible and it feels incredible. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you at the next one. Take care.